Hello everyone, today we're going to be analyzing the game from the Corus Chess Tournament 2010 between Grandmaster V.Kramnik and Grandmaster H.Nakamura. This game started off as a Dutch defense, d4, f5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, g6, c4, bishop g7, knight c3, castle, knight f3, d6, castle, c6, and now we see relatively rare rook b1. The idea behind is very simple. White wants to push his b pawn to b4 and to b5 to weaken black's king side and widen the influence of this this light squared bishop on g2. Knight e4 is played here. The idea is put some blunder check on there. Okay, the idea is pretty simple. It's just temporarily inhibit this b4 pawn advance. Queen c2. And now here's where the game pretty much gets out of main normal Dutch theory here. Nakamura decides to play the move knight takes c3. Now if he wanted to kind of stay in normal Dutch lines, maybe knight a6, and here's just a sample line, b4 perhaps, knight c7, rook d1, bishop d7, and bishop e3, and then we would have perhaps a normal Leningrad. And just note also that after a move like knight a6, knight takes e4, f takes e4, queen takes e4 wouldn't be too smart because of bishop f5. So instead of queen takes e4 there, knight g5, and black would just play d5, c takes d5, c takes, queen b3, threatening to capture on e4, e6, bishop e3, and black would just trade off queens. Again, this is just sample lines, but this is good play by both sides. The game would teeter off into equality after that trade on e4. So again, to bring it in the normal Dutch lines, which I prefer, actually I don't think knight c3 was too wise, and you'll see that later on in the analysis. But I think knight a6 is probably black's best move in this position. Knight takes c3 was played, and Kramnik had two choices. He had b takes c3, or queen takes c3. Now in the game he chose pawn takes c3, and I like this move here because it opens up the position for black's pieces, for white's pieces. Notice that white is ahead in development here. He's castled, bishop is developed, knight is developed, this bishop's diagonal is wide open, his rook is developed, his queen is developed. So we could say his last piece that's really maybe needs to be moved is the rook, perhaps the e1 or d1. That's what I like about white's position here. Only downside is the double pawns, but the double pawns are a double-edged sword. They're only weak if they can be exploited. If they can't be exploited, they're very strong because of their influence of the surrounding squares. So let's take a brief look at queen takes c3. Queen takes c3 to me is good also. I think it depends on the style of play. The only downside of that is a little time might be gained by the opponent in trying to exploit the queen on this diagonal. So knight takes d7, for instance, b4, knight b6, a4, and I think black is comfortable here. Again, it would be a long positional struggle. And say if black tries to exploit the queen's position right away, say with c5, queen e3 is possible, queen c7. And actually, white probably is better after d takes. It's very interesting. Let's see, d takes, knight g5 is interesting, probing this e6 square. e5, bishop takes, bishop d5 check, king h8. So we could see that white is probably even better there. So queen takes c3 was definitely a viable move here. I think it depends on the style. So what I'm trying to say here is, again, I do not agree with the move knight takes c3 because it wastes tempos. It wastes time on black's part because he's developed a knight to f6, then he jumped it to e4, then he's trading off and just helping the opponent increase the advantages in his position and develop without gaining anything. It's not like black really can control e4 for any extended period of time. So I think that idea was incorrect. So then he follows with e5, which was probably his plan. And Kramnik here responds rook d1, which I don't really think was the best move here, and I'll get into some more analysis of that in a second. But first, let's look at this move e5 by Nakamura. The problem I had with this during the game immediately when I saw it was that he's behind in development and he's giving white an opportunity to open up the position while he's behind in development. So I looked at some alternatives here. I think there he has queen a5 has been played before, and it seems sensible enough. It's like a waiting move, put some pressure on the center and on the queen side, and it's not as committal as a move like e5. It's h6, and to me it seems kind of slow. For instance, white can play e4 here amazingly. For instance, f takes e4, knight h4, and you can see the weaknesses in the black's position. g5, knight g6, rook f7, bishop takes e4, knight d7, f4, and white is better. So after h6. And another alternative, maybe the best alternative, is the quiet move knight d7, c5, knight f6, queen b3, d5. Now we have a stone wall, but again this is a good position for white. e6, and it's a typical stone wall, but black has a horrible bishop on c8, and he has all the positional trumps in his favor. Play knight e5 eventually, and then play f3, kicking that knight out, and open files. So Nakamura plays e5, sticks with his plan. So he has a bad opening already here. And in the next video, we'll start from this position of rook d1. So we're going to make part 2 of this video. So I'll see you on the next one.